You know how every small town has that one story? The one older kids whisper about during sleepovers? Or the one that gets passed around at school assemblies like a warning no one takes seriously? In my town, that story was called the Knock of No Return. It was the kind of urban legend you joked about when you were trying to impress someone or scare the hell out of a new kid. Supposedly, if you followed a set of steps at exactly midnight, you'd get a knock on your door. Just one. And if you opened it, you'd lose something. Nobody knew what, exactly. Some said you'd lose a memory. Others said a person. One version claimed you'd vanish altogether, but your shadow would keep living in your house. I never believed it. Not really. Until the night we tried it. It was my friend Malik's idea. He was always into creepy internet rituals, Midnight Man, one-man hide-and-seek, Bloody Mary. He'd found a printout of the rules online and was waving it around like a prize. Dude, it's perfect. Halloween weekend. No parents. No rules. Let's do it. There were 5 of us that night. Me, Malik, Tayo, Zoe, and Lucas. We were 16 and stupid, and Malik's parents were out of town for some couple's retreat. The house was tucked into the woods on the edge of our neighborhood. No neighbors for about half a mile in either direction. One road in, one road out. A perfect setting for something you definitely regret later. The rules were simple. Be inside a house alone or with others who agree to play. All lights off. One red candle must be lit at 11:55 p.m. Each player must say their full name into the flame. At 12 a.m., blow out the candle. Then wait. If you hear a knock between 12 o'clock and 12:10 a.m., do not open the door. If you open it, something will be taken from you. I remember how ridiculous it felt at first. We were sitting in the living room with the candle flickering on the table. Zoe was already laughing. This is so dumb. We're seriously doing ghost Jenga? But Malik had that look in his eyes, the one that said, "Watch this." We each said our names into the flame. Tayo laughed and said his twice. Lucas said his with a fake accent. Zoe just rolled her eyes. And when midnight hit, Malik blew out the candle. We sat in the dark, the kind of dark that makes the hairs on your arms stand up. You don't realize how loud a house is until you're listening for nothing. Tick, tick, tick. The wall clock moved like a slow heartbeat. Then, at 12:07 a.m., there was a knock. One single knock. Sharp, loud, deliberate. It came from the front door. We all froze. Nobody laughed. Nobody breathed. We just sat there, locked in silence, like prey in the dark. Was that a joke? Zoe whispered. Malik looked pale. I swear to God, that wasn't me. You ever hear the kind of knock that doesn't just hit the door, but seems to hit you? That's what it felt like. The sound echoed through Malik's living room like it didn't belong to the house, like it came from something older, heavier. And yet, it was just one knock. No follow-up, no footsteps, just a silence that thickened with every passing second. It's part of the prank, Lucas said quickly. Too quickly, right? Right, Malik? Malik didn't answer. His phone was on the table screen up. I saw his hands, both empty, not texting, not calling, and none of us had moved since we blew out the candle. Then who the hell knocked? Zoe hissed. Nobody answered. We just sat there. The weird part? The air felt wrong. Not cold, but dense, like the room had sunk a few inches lower into the earth and was holding its breath. That's when Tayo stood up. Y'all are dramatic as hell, he said. I'm opening the damn door. Tayo, don't, I said, but he was already walking. The hallway to the front door seemed longer than usual. The shadows felt stretched, like they were leaning in to watch. Tayo reached for the knob. Tayo, I'm serious, Zoe whispered harshly. Don't open it. He turned back to us with that same cocky grin he always used when he was about to do something stupid. What? You guys scared of a single knock? It's probably just a deer bumping the wall or something. Deer don't knock, Lucas mumbled. But it was too late. He opened the door. Now, you'd expect something to leap out, or someone standing there, or a scream. That's what movies teach you, right? But there was nothing. Just the empty porch, the trees swaying in the breeze. See? Tayo said, laughing. Told y'all. He shut the door and came back to the couch. We all exhaled. Nervous laughter filled the room. Malik said something about how it might have been the wind after all. Zoe punched his arm for scaring her. The tension started to lift. But I watched Tayo. He didn't laugh. Not really. He sat back down, eyes darting to the walls. He kept blinking like he was trying to remember something and couldn't find it. Like when a dream starts slipping right after you wake up. Tayo, I asked, you good? He looked at me, and for the first time in years of knowing him, he didn't recognize me. Like actually didn't. What? He said. Why are you calling me that? The room went dead silent. That's your name, Lucas said slowly. Tayo shook his head. Number? That's not, no. I think you've got me confused with someone else. We stared at him. Nobody spoke. He looked around the room again, unsettled. Where am I? He asked. And that's when I realized. The knock had taken something from him. We didn't sleep that night. After Tayo sat back down and asked where he was like he'd never seen the place before, none of us knew what to do. He wasn't joking. He wasn't faking. You could see it in his face. This wasn't a prank. He was looking around like we were strangers. Like he was a stranger to himself. What's the last thing you remember? Malik asked. Tayo blinked slowly. I was in my room, I think. Or maybe someone else's? Do you remember me? Zoe asked gently. He shook his head, then looked down at his hands like they weren't his. It was the most unnerving thing I've ever seen. Watching someone forget who they are while still sitting right in front of you. Malik tried to brush it off at first, said maybe Tayo was just playing it up to scare us. But after an hour of Tayo asking the same questions, not remembering our names, or his own, even Malik shut up. Lucas wanted to call Tayo's parents, but Malik argued it was too risky, we'd all get in trouble. It was like we were stuck between reality and something else, something stitched together by the rules of that creepy game. I told y'all we shouldn't have done it, Zoe whispered. She kept looking at the front door like she expected it to open on its own. It was past 2 a.m. when we finally moved Tayo into the guest room. He kept mumbling to himself as we tucked him into the bed, like he was trying to reconstruct something in his head. Do you think he'll be normal tomorrow? Lucas asked. No one answered. Because deep down, we already knew. At some point, we all crashed in the living room, huddled under blankets like kids at a sleepover that had gone horribly wrong. The candle still sat on the table. I remember thinking how small it looked now, how harmless. It was just wax and a wick. But it had opened a door we couldn't close. I woke up at dawn. Sunlight leaked through the curtains. The quiet was thick, too thick. Malik was still asleep. So was Lucas. Zoe was curled up in a chair. I got up, my legs heavy, and walked down the hallway to the guest room. The bed was empty. Sheets still warm. No sign of Tayo. I checked the bathroom, the back porch, the driveway. Nothing. But the front door, it was unlocked, just barely open, like someone had left quietly or was taken. I stood there staring at the crack in the door, feeling cold creep down my spine. Tayo, I called out into the empty woods. Are you out there? A long pause. Then, knock. Not at the front door. Not at the back. Inside. From the hallway closet. I backed away, heart hammering. "Malik, wake up, Lucas, get up now." The knock came again, one slow, deliberate knock. But the guest room, it was still empty. Tayo hadn't come back. Something else had. When I say the knock came from inside the house, I don't mean it felt like it, I mean it was. You don't mistake that kind of sound. It wasn't walls settling or an old pipe groaning. It was a knuckle, on wood, right behind the hallway closet door. I remember staring at it, frozen, the way your body freezes when your instincts kick in before your brain does. Something ancient in me understood that opening that door wasn't just dangerous. It was final. "Malik!" I yelled again. "Lucas, get the hell up!" They stumbled awake, confused and groggy. Zoe shot upright like she'd been waiting for something bad to happen. "What? What happened?" Malik asked. I just pointed. The closet. "There's something knocking. From inside." Lucas looked pale. "You think it's Tayo?" That possibility hit me like a gut punch. What if it was? What if he wasn't gone, but somehow locked in there, trying to get out? Zoe stepped forward, then stopped herself. No, you don't open anything. That's how it works, remember? You don't answer the knock. That's the whole thing. But now it was more than just the game. Now it was someone we cared about. Someone who'd already lost himself because we didn't stop him from opening the door. And now that second knock was tempting someone else to do the same. "We have to know," Malik said quietly. "What if he's trapped? What if that's what this thing stakes you, then lets you knock, hoping someone else lets you back in?" Lucas nodded. "That's what I was thinking too. What if he's stuck in there and we just leave him? And what if it's not him?" Zoe snapped. "What if it's the thing that took him?" The room went dead silent again. The knock didn't come a third time. Instead, the door slowly began to creak open on its own. No wind, no vibration. It just moved, half an inch, then another. I couldn't help it. I took a step back. "Close it," Zoe whispered. "Someone close it now." Malik stepped forward, and that's when the light in the hallway, just the hallway, flickered off. Total darkness behind the door. Something shifted inside. A scrape, a breath, then a voice. "Let me in." Soft, male, familiar, Tayo's voice. "It's me. I'm cold. I don't know where I am. Please." Malik's hand was shaking. "Tayo? Please. Say your full name," I whispered. I didn't know why I said it, but it came out like instinct. Silence. Then, in a voice that didn't match the one before, I said, "Let me in." And this time, the voice was wrong. Not just deep, not just angry. It echoed like it was behind the wall, beneath the floor, everywhere at once. Malik slammed the closet shut and shoved the hall chair against it. We didn't speak for a long time after that. And that was the last night I slept at Malik's house. Because something was knocking. And the next time it did, it came from me. I didn't tell my parents everything when I got home. What could I say? "Hey Mom, we played a cursed midnight game and now one of my friends doesn't remember his own name and something's knocking from inside closets." Number. I just told them Malik's party got weird, and I needed a few days to clear my head. But even in my own room, surrounded by things I knew, posters, the ticking wall clock, the hum of the ceiling fan, I didn't feel safe. Because that night, the knocking followed me. It started subtle. First, it was the sound of my phone buzzing once and showing no notifications. Then it was the closet door in my room being slightly ajar even though I know I closed it. And then, just like before the knock, one single slow knock. But not on my bedroom door. On my window. I live on the second floor. I didn't move. I couldn't. I lay there under the blanket, breathing through my mouth so I wouldn't make a sound. For a moment, I let myself believe it was a dream. Then I heard it again. Knock. Same pace, same weight. I sat up, heart pounding, and crept toward the window. It was pitch black outside. No moon, no porch light, just the faint orange haze from the street lamp across the road. I slowly peeled back the curtain. There was nothing there, just glass. But right as I let the curtain fall, my phone lit up. Unknown number. No text, just a notification that a call had ended. The timestamp? 12:07 a.m. Same time Tayo opened the door. I didn't sleep. The next day, I went back to school and pulled Zoe aside. She looked like hell. Hair tied back, pale, eyes like she hadn't rested in days. Before I said anything, she grabbed my arm and whispered, "It's following us." I didn't ask how she knew. She told me she heard tapping from her bathroom mirror, that her mother called her by the wrong name at breakfast, that she dreamed of a hallway with no doors, only a red candle that wouldn't blow out. "It knows us now," she said, "and I think it's choosing." That night, I got a text from Lucas. "Bro, are you home? Can you come outside real quick? I need to show you something." I replied, "What is it?" No answer. I called him, straight to voicemail. But a minute later, another message. "Come to your front door." I felt sick reading it. The way the words were typed, no punctuation, no slang, it didn't feel like Lucas. Still, I went to the peephole. No one was there. But as I stood with my hand on the lock, knock. One knock. Then I heard Lucas's voice, muffled, behind the door. "Open up, man. I just want to talk." But it wasn't excited, like Lucas. No stuttering, no panic. Just monotone. Flat. I said, "Lucas, say my full name." Long silence. Then, louder now. "Open the door." I stepped back, grabbed my phone, called Lucas again. This time he answered. "Yo, what's up?" he said, clearly out of breath. "I've been trying to call you. Something's been outside my house all night." I didn't say a word, just looked at the door. Because whoever or whatever was on the other side wasn't him. I didn't open the door. I stood there, breathing hard, staring through the peephole at an empty porch bathed in shadow. But I knew something had just been there. The knock was still echoing inside my head like a warning bell that wouldn't stop ringing. I didn't sleep that night either. By the next morning, all 5 of us had stopped pretending this was a game. Lucas messaged the group chat. "Yo, I think it's real. Something was outside my room last night. I saw myself through the window, but I was inside." He deleted the message a minute later, but it didn't matter. We all saw it. Malik didn't respond. Zoe only replied with one line. "I keep seeing the candle, even when I close my eyes." That day, I skipped school and went back to Malik's place. His parents were still gone, but when I got there, the door was already unlocked. Inside was dark. Still. "Malik?" I called out. No answer. I stepped into the living room, careful, quiet. The candle we used that night was still on the table, unburned, fresh. But it wasn't the same one. This one was already lit. My skin crawled. There was no breeze, no draft, no open windows, and yet the flame flickered like someone had just breathed on it. I moved toward it slowly. Then I heard the whisper. Say it again. Low, male, not Malik. Say your name again. Let it in. I turned around. No one there. But in the hallway mirror, I saw something move. Not me, not a reflection. Something taller, darker, watching. I grabbed the candle and blew it out. The room felt like it collapsed in on itself, like whatever was circling me had just been cut off, like I'd slammed a door shut between worlds. And then I heard footsteps. From the basement. Malik's basement door was cracked open, the shadows inside stretching like they didn't follow normal rules, just leaking darkness like smoke. Malik? I whispered. No answer. I almost called the police. But then I remembered Malik had been the one to start this. He was the one who blew out the original candle. He was the one who said our names had to be spoken. The thing is, we didn't understand the rules. Not really. It wasn't about knocking. It was about naming. Saying your name into the flame wasn't just part of the ritual, it was the invitation. We gave it access. Our names were like keys, personalized keys, and now the thing behind the knock had them all. And it was unlocking us one by one. That night, Zoe disappeared. Her mother posted on Facebook that she never came home from school. Her phone was found in her locker. Police were called. The town mobilized. But we knew. She'd opened the door. Or maybe it didn't need her to anymore. Maybe it could come in now. Maybe once you say your name into the flame, the knock becomes optional. I went back to that group chat. Just me, Lucas, and Malik. Malik finally responded. It's in the walls now. It doesn't knock anymore. It remembers how to say my name. I tried to call him. No answer. That night, the knock came again. But not at the door. Not at the window. Not even in the walls. It came from inside my closet, but this time, the voice wasn't asking to be let in. It was whispering my name, perfectly, repeatedly. Like it was trying it on. Like it had already stolen it. I stopped answering calls after Zoe vanished. Malik went silent again, and Lucas hadn't been to school. Teachers asked questions. So did parents. But no one could explain anything. No police report mentioned the ritual. No one said the word knock. Only we knew, and we were down to 3. I started sleeping with the lights on. I didn't care how it looked. The whispering had stopped, but that was somehow worse, because silence meant it was close. That's when I got a message from Lucas. He's back. I stared at it. Who? He replied with a single name. Tayo. Lucas lived across town, but I didn't care. I threw on a hoodie, didn't tell my parents, and biked there like the world was on fire. When I arrived, he met me at the edge of his driveway. He looked like he hadn't eaten in days. He knocked, Lucas whispered. Twice. I didn't understand. What do you mean twice? He came to my window last night, just stood there. I thought it was a dream. But when I went outside this morning, he pointed to the backyard. That's when I saw Tayo sitting on a lawn chair, pale, calm, blank-eyed, like he was waiting for something. He just showed up like that? He doesn't talk, Lucas said. Doesn't blink. He just watches. And I swear to God, he's not breathing. I stepped closer. I shouldn't have. Because when I got within a few feet, Tayo moved. But not toward me. He reached into his hoodie and pulled out a red candle. Unlit. He held it up like an offering. He brought it back, I whispered. Lucas was shaking. He's not Tayo. He just wears him now. That night, I didn't go home. I stayed at Lucas's. We locked the doors, boarded the windows. We agreed no more answering. No matter what we saw, no matter what we heard. And then, at 12:06 a.m., the candle on Lucas's kitchen counter lit itself. There was no breeze. No one touched it. The room went ice cold. Then the voice came, but not from the door, not the window. It came from inside the floorboards. It was Tayo's voice, and Zoe's, and even Malik's Parton's quote. Layered, crawling out from the wood like rot. You never blew it out, they whispered. You left it burning. Lucas backed away, muttering to himself. His hand was shaking. I never said my name. I never said my name. I never said it. I turned to him. Wait, you didn't? He looked at me, eyes wide with terror. I was the last one. The candle was almost out. I was scared. I lied. I faked it. That changed everything. He didn't give it permission. It had been circling us all this time, but it never truly had Lucas's name. He wasn't a locked door. He was a mirror it couldn't enter. But I had. I said my name. Clearly. Loudly. Twice. The flame on the candle flared high blue now, not red. Then it went out. The knock didn't come. The front door just opened. Not fast. Not slammed. It opened like someone lived there. And standing in the doorway was Tayo. Except his face wasn't blank anymore. It was mine. It didn't move. It just stood there, in the open doorway, wearing my face. Same hair, same eyes, same mole on the left cheek, the same scar on my eyebrow from when I fell off my bike in 3rd grade. Only it wasn't me, because the thing wearing my face was smiling. And I don't smile like that. Nobody does. The corners of its mouth stretched too far. The teeth were perfect, but too many of them. The skin around the eyes looked like it had been stretched into place, not born that way. Lucas stood behind me, frozen. Don't move, I whispered. But he didn't need the warning. He was shaking like he was trying to hold his soul inside his body. The thing took a step forward, barefoot, slow. I backed up, hands raised. You can't be here, I said. You weren't invited. You had your chance. It tilted its head, still smiling. You said your name, it replied, and it spoke in my voice. But not just an imitation. It was my voice. Every tone, every rhythm, every pause I'd ever made. It knew me completely now. I didn't open the door, I said. You didn't have to. You lit the candle. You gave me your name. You let me in every time you said it to someone else. Every time you typed it. Every time you believed it still belonged to you. Lucas whispered, It's in your house, man. What do we do? I couldn't answer, because I realized what it meant. The knock wasn't about letting something in physically. It was about ownership. It didn't need permission anymore. Not really. It just needed me to doubt, to question, to hesitate. And it had all of that now. I ran. Down the hall. Past the stairs. I heard Lucas behind me shouting, but I didn't stop. I knew I couldn't outrun it, not in the physical sense, but I had one thing left. One rule we'd all forgotten. I ran to Lucas's kitchen. The drawer. The lighter. The original red candle. It was still there. I lit it. The flame flickered violently, like it knew what I was doing. Then I stood over it and whispered, I take my name back. The house shuddered. I'm not exaggerating, it was like the walls themselves breathed inward, like the air was being vacuumed out. The lights flickered, then went out. From the hallway, I heard it scream. Not loud, not high-pitched. It was like glass bending, like a name being torn in half. The hallway glowed red for a moment. Then, silence. I found Lucas on the floor, conscious, breathing hard. The front door was closed. No one stood outside. My face was mine again. That was 6 months ago. Zoe was never found. Malik's family moved out of state. Tayo's parents moved too. No one speaks their names anymore, not in public. I deleted every post, every document, every trace of my name online. Even changed my legal ID, just to be safe. But sometimes, late at night, my phone vibrates at 12:06 a.m. No number. No caller ID. Just a blank screen. And when I pick it up, I hear my voice say, "Come to the door."